Right now by U.S. Congressman Joaquin Castro, Democrat from Texas, and a member of the Intelligence Committee, and David Frum, who's a senior editor at The Atlantic. Thank you. Congressman, this thing of Pelosi and saying, well, we need more information, saying there's only 38 Democrats in the House who want impeachment, and they're getting all the media attention when 200 are opposed to it. Is that square with what you know of the House? Is the House really against impeachment, as the Speaker says?
You know, I think most people believe that the president should be removed from office, people within the Democratic caucus, and obviously perhaps a growing number of Republicans in the Congress. I think the lingering question for people is, when is the right time to do it? And then, of course, there's a concern because people are in politics about what the political effect will be of that. But, Chris, I think, I don't know whether there would be more damage to the Democratic Party or the Republican Party politically if you go through impeachment. But whatever that damage is, it's not as bad as the long-term damage to the country if we do nothing and we let Donald Trump get away with obstructing justice and just sit still and do nothing.
Why is Speaker Pelosi opposed to beginning hearings?
Well, I don't want to speak for the Speaker, of course. And, you're talking about somebody who's not only very shrewd in terms of understanding the political moment.
You raised a political calculation one way or the other. Is there a political calculation in her decision?
Well, I could tell you what part of the political argument is. I can't tell you specifically what she's thinking. But politically, the reason for caution is this. People think that the House of Representatives will take up impeachment. The House of Representatives will vote to impeach. And then it'll go over to the Senate, and the Senate will find the president not guilty. And then he will then use that in November of 2020 to say that I've been exonerated twice, first by Bob Mueller and then by the United States Congress. And then he'll wrap up the election. That's the fear politically.
Where are you? Again, you've given both scenarios. Where are you?
Sure. I have said that I support opening an impeachment inquiry. And knowing what I do, having sat on the Intelligence Committee, going through those dozens of interviews, I believe that the president obstructed justice, and I would vote to impeach. But I think at a minimum, we ought to start that inquiry now.
David, let's talk. David Frum's with me. You know how to write a big story about a big question, and here's the big question. Will history judge the Democrats in the House favorably if they take a bye on this? If they just say, good opportunity, we don't think we got the numbers, we're not doing it.
If the Democrats in the House start a process that ends with Donald Trump being out of office, history will judge them favorably. If they start a process that ends with fortifying Donald Trump in office, history will judge them unfavorably. Success is going to matter here. The ball is indeed in Congress's court. Very important not to hit it into the net. There are not 67 votes in the Senate to remove. The congressman is absolutely right about the consequence of an acquittal of the president in the Senate. Even more seriously, to start an impeachment process at this point means to rally a fissuring Republican Party around the president. A lot of Republicans who don't like Donald Trump.
It's already 90%, though.
But it's 90% of a much smaller party. Republicans are now at 25% of the country. They used to be 35. You rally people to him. Success is crucial, and if you're not going to succeed, don't start.
Let me go back to the congressman on the base question, because we all know there's a younger Democratic Party, in many cases people of color, who got involved in politics lately, the last couple of years. They're very idealistic, and they're not looking at, election returns as much as they're looking at the right thing. Can this House of Representatives say, we're going to walk on this one, it's not good politics, and let the president get away with everything he got away with? It's not impeachable.
I think that in terms, not only politically, in terms of the message that sends to Democratic voters and to all Americans, the poor message that sends, but also I think at this point it's a matter of doing the right thing. I would ask you, when is it appropriate to start an impeachment inquiry on a president, if not this one for everything this president has done, but particularly with respect to obstruction of justice? If you're not going to invoke it here, then what does it take for a president to do to invoke an impeachment inquiry?
But the choice is not impeachment or do nothing. Congress has set in motion a series of events. The subpoena for the president's financial records from his accountants, the claim for the president's tax returns. Congress has set in motion a series of events.
To what effect, though?
And I agree, David, but I think that those cases could be wrangled in court for another year and a half or 2 years. It's going to go to the district court. You win in the district court. You lose in the appellate court. It goes up to the Supreme Court. I mean, they could tie that up basically forever, potentially.
The tax return case may happen too, but the accounting records look like it's going fast. That looks like Trump has lost twice in two different.
What's the sanction for the president after all the hearings? It's not impeachment.
What is going to happen is that I think the release of these documents is its own sanction to him. It tends to split the Republican coalition. It tends to cast light where exactly. I mean, he's telling you. It's like he's like in the old Columbo detective story. He's the guy who's telling you that's the door not to open.
Okay. Well, the person responsible for holding impeachment proceedings, that's Chairman Jerry Nadler of the House Judiciary Committee, today vowed to hold the president accountable, but again stopped short of calling for impeachment.
Mueller again highlighted this morning, it falls to Congress to respond to the crimes, lies, and other wrongdoing of President Trump. We will do so. Make no mistake, no one, not even the President of the United States, is above the law. With respect to impeachment question, at this point, all options are on the table, and nothing should be ruled out.
I can't read into the mind or heart of the speaker, guys, but there's one thing I think that the Pelosi mind thing is worrying about. Her minefield ahead of her is this. If you begin the hearings with a split House, with Republicans not supporting it, Omar, sure, nobody else, you walk into probably a year in which the president is the victim. The president plays the demagogue. We know he's nimble at this. He plays it brilliantly. The deep state is now arose. I told you they were coming to get me. The bureaucracy, the prosecutors, the FBI, the justice, all those people, and those liberals, and the media, all those people you don't like, all those liberals, all those people, they're coming out to get and take back what you voted for in the Electoral College in 2016. They're coming to ruin our democracy. Save me. Congressman, is that the fear, that dark night of terror that Trump would know how to play if he had to play it?
Well, I think that's absolutely part of it, Chris. Yes, in terms of the political messaging, of the political vulnerability of pursuing an impeachment, yes, it's all of that. But again, I think when we think about this historically in the moment that we're in, if a president is allowed to obstruct justice the way this president has, and the evidence suggests, then what does it mean for the rule of law and for our democracy? What does it say to a future president, whatever their political party, about the power of the presidency to ignore the law and usurp power from the Congress and basically break the law? There's longer-term damage that's at stake here.
You know, I was thinking now about that old skit that.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.